Hello, my name is Roger. I'm here to show you how the spring bolt works in a typical wood guardrail system. This could be either indoors or out. Our hardware works with pressure treated wood or with hardwoods indoors. First off, all of our spring bolts operate off of the mechanics of attaching a spring in the bottom of two holes that you drill in your joint, and you twist the joint together, and what happens is one spring threads inside the other as you twist the joint together, and once the two surfaces of the joint come in contact with each other, each successive turn that you put on a joint after that only increases the pulling power or the clamping power of the joint. Now that's true with all of the different sizes and applications that we have. I'm going to start off by showing you our rail to post attachment. After you have drilled a 1-inch hole 1 inch deep for our post attachment hardware, you screw a spring and attach it to the bottom of the hole in the post, and you do the same thing on your rail, 1-inch hole 1 inch deep, and screw the spring to the base of the hole. After that, you insert a guide pin into either spring. You use that to align the two springs, and it also helps in the event of shear on the joint. However, you have two heavy gauge stainless steel springs that are also in shear, and this joint simply will not fail. It's passed commercial and residential load tests. After you align them, you simply give the joint one turn. You can give it 2 turns if you like, but there's one turn, and one turn's really all you need. You've made your joint at that point. It kind of seems almost unbelievable that it's over with, but there it is. It's over with. That joint's over with. Once you attach a spring to the bottom of both holes, you twist it one turn, it's done. Now you can move it 1/4 of an inch in all directions to align it on the, center it on the post if that's what it takes. Also, you can put epoxy on the springs. You can butter up the springs a little bit with epoxy. I recommend a slow set epoxy, which we also sell. And a couple hours down the road, that'll lock up and it'll absolutely never move. Now, that's your rail to post attachment. I'll show you the next spring bolt kit that we have, and it's our post deck kit. All of our kits come bagged with a full set of instructions on the back. However, if you'd like, you can get online. We have a good FAQ tab there which should answer all your questions, and if not, you can call technical support, in which case you'll probably get me, and I'll be glad to help you with any questions you might have. For our post to deck attachment, it operates off the same principle. You're going to make sure you have blocking in your substructure, which is true with any hardware that you have nowadays. The building department's going to require a strong attachment. In order to do that, you got to have blocking in your deck. After you've drilled your hole, it's a 1 3/8 hole, 3 3/8 deep. You attach the spring to the base of that hole, and you do the same thing to the bottom of your post. Drill a 1 3/8 hole, 3 3/8 deep, screw a spring to the base of the hole. After you've done that, most people like to, or some people like to put it together dry just to check themselves. You can insert the metal pin, which is your main structural member in this case. It also can be used for alignment, so that you can slip the post over the pin and twist the two together. Now one spring, again, is threading inside the other spring at this point. Now, you give it 3 turns, which is all you need. At 3 turns, you're going to have enough pressure, enough pull, clamping power on that's going to hold the post down tight to the deck. If somebody happens to come up to the post and bump it, the spring's simply going to pull it back down, and it'll carry on with the curing process. Now, you can put this together dry, as I said, and I'll show you how easy it is to pull it apart later, which kind of takes the scare factor out of it. The putting the whole system together is the fact that it goes together quick. It comes together quick, so you can put it together dry. You won't do that with any other hardware. Any other hardware, once you put it together, you don't ever want to have to take it apart, because it takes too long to put it together and to take it apart. So with this spring bolt hardware, all of our joints come apart in a matter of seconds, which you'll see. Okay, now you've got your post attached to your deck. You can, at this point, it's dry attachment. If it was a permanent attachment, before you inserted the metal pin, you would fill the hole up in the deck halfway full with epoxy. The two-part epoxy that we have here, it's a slow set. You can buy it in various quantities, either pint, quart, or gallon. And you would fill the hole in the post also halfway fill. And then when you insert the pin and twist it together, the entire cavity is filled with epoxy. And once that epoxy sets, you'll have a joint that's basically as solid as a tree until the house comes down. It's just there forever. But right now, it's dry. There's nothing in it, and you can check your fits. Next thing you may want to do is attach your post attach your rail between two posts. Now, you've already got your right-hand spring or on your rail to post kit in one end. In the other end, we have a kit that's called a rail to end post kit. In the rail to end post kit, you're going to get a pair of right-hand and a pair of left-hand springs. You install a right hand and a left hand, and in your rail you install a right hand and a left hand, and you can't do it wrong because they simply won't twist together. So you just install a right and a left and a right and a left. You want to make sure that your tails of your spring are at 12 o'clock high in this case, and you'll understand why once you've used the product just one time. You want it all to thread together at the same time. Now, after you've installed your springs in the posts and in both ends of the rail, insert your guide pin. You line up the spring with the spring on this end. You're able to push the post apart. Even after an hour or so after you've set this post, you're going to be able to push that post apart because it's a slow set epoxy. At that point, you give it a twist. Now you give it one full twist, and at that point, this joint is made. Both joints are made just that quick. No plugs, no staples, no nails, nothing to putty. It's just a very clean joint. All right, now you've got your posts in, your post down, your rail in, it's dry. Next thing we do, whenever we make a gooseneck, we'll take a 90-degree fitting. We usually like to have 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches right here, clearance from the post. You can get by with less, but 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches kind of seems to work pretty good. We take two 3-inch screws. You can use drywall screws, but a 3-inch screw, number 8 screw will work. Countersink it and drill it into the post. After that's attached to the post, you can drill, or you can pre-drill before attaching this for a spring bolt, and which we've already done here. And that's drilled 3/4 inch to 7/8 inch up from the short point. 1.25 inch hole, 5/8 diameter paddle bit. As is with all of our spring bolts, it's installed with two tools. It's a paddle bit and it's a driver. That's it. Doesn't matter if it's a post bolt, if it's a rail to post, or if it's a rail connector, as I'm now getting ready to show you how that works. It's always just two tools is all it takes. Now you've drilled your 5/8 hole, 1.25 inch deep in your 90-degree joint, 7/8 inch, 3/4 inch up from your short point, and attach the spring to the bottom of both holes. You do the same thing with your up-easings, your goosenecks, quarter turns, whatever the case may be. You take a wafer cut of your rail, mark your center point on where you want to drill your hole, and you take your wafer cut, you mark it, you take your wafer cut off on the other side of the joint, you mark that and drill that for a 5/8 hole, 1.25 inch deep. Now we like to keep the hardware up in the high of center, and this way if you're going to, for any reason, drill a baluster on a joint, you're not going to hit the hardware. And that's another plus of this system. You can drill for a baluster on a joint and you're not going to hit the hardware. Okay, so now we've got an up-easing. We attach it to our 90-degree. Now with this is our rail connector, and our rail connector, which is item 10 on our website. You give this 3 or 4 turns, and it's got an 1/8 of an inch movement in all directions, so that you can get the best profile alignment that's possible. You can do that with this hardware. Now, that's going to cut down on your sanding time, and now you've got a joint, no plugs, no putty, no nail holes. And you're going to do the same thing now when you make this joint. You have a 90-degree joint. Now, you can do this dry. If it makes you feel good, check, and it's pretty good idea to do that. Make sure you feel comfortable with the way everything's fitting together. Now there you are. 3 turns. You can move this 1/8 of an inch in all directions. And if you can just take a minute, I don't know how good you can see this on the camera, but there are no staples, no nails, no plugs. It's absolutely clean. There is not a better looking system than what you're looking at right now. I don't care who does your job. Now, at this point, if you'd like everything, you can disassemble it. Now that you feel comfortable with it, that was like 3 seconds. Here's another something like 3 seconds. And here's another, now that might have been 6 seconds. And you've basically got your system apart. Another maybe 10 or 15 seconds with this to pull it apart, dry. And now you're going to put your epoxy in. You're going to put your epoxy in, put your pin in, put it back together, twist your post down after you've checked everything you like it. I just took this entire system apart and put it back together in a what I would call a relatively short period of time compared to anything else that you're used to dealing with. Right there, we've got this system back together. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and put my gooseneck back in. After I've applied my glue, I'm going to do the same thing with my 90-degree joint. Apply my glue to both surfaces, twist it together. And now, since I have glue on there, I'm going to give it 3, maybe 4 turns, get it plenty of pressure on it, align my profiles. I like everything. Now, it's time to put your balusters in, and what we usually do with our rails is we'll pre-drill the underside of our rail and pre-drill our deck. Now, something you're not able to do with any other hardware is now you can twist this rail slightly so that you can get your baluster up in on the underside. You put it up in the rail, and now you're able to rotate the rail back down, and now your system's together. You can't do that with a rail bolt or zip bolt or anything else that's going on out there. So now look at the system that you got. You have absolutely everything that you look at. You've got good profile alignment. You have no plugs, no staples, no putty anywhere. The system really can't be beat. And once you get some of this in your shop or get it at your home and give it a try, you'll see that what I'm saying and what you see here is really the way it is. I hope you get on our website or go to one of your local stores, and more of them are carrying our products nowadays, and give it a try. And once you do, I think you'll be real satisfied with the end result, and the money you spent will be well worth your while. Thank you.